We haven't had a chance to talk about the impingement, the LaMelo injury of it all, the subluxation, all the medical jargon that we have to learn these days. Haven't had a chance to talk about that. This is that time. And yeah, the LaMelo for Morant thing that everybody wants to happen. We'll give our 2 cents for exchanging injured point guards. Plus, is Ryan Kalkbrenner too big to fail? Not only is he too big on the court, is he too big to fail? We'll get to all of it today. Locked On Hornets.
You are Locked On Hornets, your daily Charlotte Hornets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
It's Locked On Hornets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Thanks for making us your first listen. We're free and available anywhere you get your pods, and that includes YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see Doug Branson, everyhornetsboxscore.com, where people in the comment section are backing me up when I say how good you look.
Oh, okay. Well, they're backing you up in a lot of different ways and blaming me for a lot of things. But yes.
Are they mad at you today? I thought they were backing me up. I just saw one comment that said, "You're right, Walker. Doug does look fantastic." So I chose peace today. I didn't choose any violence.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate all of the comments, the positive ones. You know, even the negative ones. It's fine. It just drives me, fuels me.
This is what fuels me. That's a sad life, brother. The sewer section. This is what I do it for. The sewer section.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I keep telling people in the comments. Nothing you can say can hurt me. You don't understand how long I've been doing this without playoff basketball to talk. There's nothing you can say in those comments that will hurt my feelings. Well, I'm impenetrable.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm Walker Mail. Listen to me WFNZ every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. Shout out to Dylan Hall, who is the assistant coach on Lynchburg men's basketball team. Okay. Lynchburg men's basketball, who gave Queens all they could handle tonight. I'm not just wearing a mock neck for the sake of wearing a mock neck. Mock neck mail only shows up on TV. So anytime I get some screen time, not YouTube, then I'll bring out the mock neck or a shirt and tie. You guys get the idea. So anyways, that's why I'm wearing this. Broadcasted Queens, Lynchburg. Lynchburg had a great game. And I have to imagine it's because smart people are on that staff. And one of the assistant coaches said that he's a certified sicko. So shout out to Coach Hall.
Yeah, let's go.
Shout out to Coach Hall. He did say that he feels like you've been a little defeated here recently, that he was worried about you with your solo show, and that after the opener, you felt a little more defeated than usual. Is the sickness getting the best of you? Well, I know it's already gotten the best of you, but what is your response to at least this assistant coach saying, "Hey, Doug, is everything okay?"
No, I hear you. I hear you, Dylan. I have a baby. I would say that. I have a Yahoo show. I have an Every Hornets box score. I have
It's a lot. It's a lot.
But I enjoy.
Go ahead.
Yeah, look, we're doing our thing. We're making hay while the sun's shining, and that's fine. But I think really the source of it for me is that we're so early with this like fire Charles Lee stuff. It is.
Oh yeah.
And I don't want to get us into the mud on this again. We had a whole show about it. You can go watch yesterday's episode. I'm just like, do we have to get here so early, particularly when there are like 4 guys, including your 2 best players, hurt? It's just like, why do we have to get here so early?
I'm here for the conversation on some things that we can point to and say, what was the coach's fault? What I'm not here for is firing Charles Lee. Like all of the angry comments, you need to hold him accountable. You need to fire him. I dare you to say that he should be the coach. Well, guess what? Dare accepted. I do want Charles Lee to be the coach. That's right. A little truth or dare. Dare. I dare you to say you want him to be the coach. Granted, I want him to be the head coach. I like Charles Lee. We'll see what happens. We're a handful of games into his second season, and you're right, Doug. He doesn't have his 2 best players, which we should get to now. Because not only do you have a Yahoo sports show, not only do you have a baby, you have an impingement in your life again. And that's frustrating. We all have impingements, okay? So I go back. I'll just set the scene once more in case you missed one of the episodes that we've done on this already. But LaMelo Ball was on the injury report at the end of last season. And he was listed on that injury report with having ankle soreness. And then I believe March 27th against Toronto, that was the first time that we saw LaMelo listed with ankle impingement. He would miss every single game the rest of the way, the final 10 of the season, and that was it. Suited up, ready to go this year. We get an ankle impingement again on the injury report. He plays after being listed questionable, has not played each of the last couple of games. Yep, you guessed it, because of ankle impingement. So some people were speculating that this was load management, which possibly there was that shot. Once he missed the second night of a back-to-back, you could have him on the injury report to try to keep some flexibility as to what you wanted to do with those back-to-back games. Do we want to miss the front end or the back end? Back end, cool. Now he's missing more. So what do you do with this LaMelo Ball injury that has reared its head again? Like he'll have missed a couple of games already, Doug, and we haven't even reached the double-digit mark in the schedule yet.
Oh, well, there's nothing you can do except for hope that whatever program that his people have him on and that the team has him on is going to ultimately lead to sustained play at some point this season, and that they can get him back out there as quickly as can, again, keep him healthy for as long as possible. That's all you can do, because they're in the weeds now, and so I like that we were all the Padme Star Wars meme of like, it's just because it's a back-to-back, right? It's just right.
Tell me good news.
No, it's actual, but and we've been trained. This is the NBA and load management and funky, messing shenanigans with the injury report. It has trained us to be skeptical of what we see. Like our eyes, we cannot believe what our eyes see. We have to make up all of this. No, actually, it seems like there's some kind of issue with his ankles, and it's not surprising in any way, because the man has had like 5 or 6 ankle sprains, and doing just a little bit of cursory reading on what impingement is, like one of the first things that comes up is can happen due to multiple ankle sprains. So when you have repeated injuries, and some of those have been they've been on both feet, but I think the right ankle has taken the brunt of the sprains. When you have those repeated injuries, like we're not a machine where you can just like take out all the parts and like put new parts in and it's like, okay, it's good to go. Like that's not how. There's trauma, there's stuff that, you're always going to be dealing with it. He's going to be dealing with it for the rest of his life.
Well, that's not to stop you. That's the real question, right? It's how much of an issue is this for the fill in the blank rest of his career, the next 2 years, the next year? That's the question. Is it something he's dealing with for the rest of his life and we don't ever see it pop up on an injury report? Is it something he deals with these are all the questions, right? To your point, what can you do? But those are questions that we're trying to figure out as fans and podcasters. And it's questions that they're trying to figure out over there at Spectrum Center as decision makers, as authority figures. And depending on what answer you come up with, like that absolutely changes things on how you move and shake at the deadline, in the future, whatever it's decision-making time. Oh, man, you can tell, like, this team is so much better with him on the court. The numbers are stupid different with him on the court versus off of it. We want to be fast. We want to get out in transition. And guess what? You can't without him. That's what the numbers say. You might get better, but you can't without him. He's almost, your whole identity is also wrapped up in him with what you've preached. And he's not out there, man. And neither is Brandon, which is a huge deal also. That's the second huge deal. Yeah,
well, and your identity being wrapped up in LaMelo Ball is by design. Like when you sign a guy to a max contract, it's, you're taking up a percentage of your cap that cannot go to other pieces. So that was by design. They wanted to make this team around LaMelo with some idea that if Brandon, I think popped off and became an all-NBA player sooner rather than later, like, okay, well, there's some pivoting that can be done. Injuries, continued injuries. And this was my concern when we were talking about this in the offseason, is like, hey, if we get to the point where he sprains his ankle again, if he breaks his ankle again, or even, what we may be seeing now is this just sort of continued popping up on the injury report and limiting his ability to play games, that's going to severely limit whatever return that the Hornets could get in a potential move.
Last point before we move on, you mentioned the team being built around him. It was their decision-making process, and I do think it was LaMelo and Brandon, but they said that. They had no problems saying that, getting out in front of saying, we wanted to get players that do complement LaMelo and Brandon, and I think they've done that, and that's why it's not a doomsday scenario with the way that the rookies are playing. We have something to hold on to there. We have something to hold on to with the way that Colin Sexton is playing, but you still end up losing to a winless team like the Pelicans because LaMelo's not out there. We'll continue.
Well, and when you hitch your wagon to a player that cannot, and you hitch your wagon and you hitch a significant percentage of your cap to a player that cannot be on the floor, that's how you end up, partially how you end up in a 10-year playoff drought. If just year after year, the guy that does form the identity of your team is absent, it's going to be very difficult. It's not only that he forms the identity, Walker, it's that, like, I don't even think you can really seriously analyze the basketball that happens without him on the floor for 30 plus minutes in a night. Like, to me, it's difficult to analyze a game beyond just these sort of individual performances and like some of the player development stuff that they've got with all of these rookies. Like, we're going to talk about Kalkbrenner later in the show. Like, we can do all of that, but just like the serious, like, just macro, like game level stuff of like, how does this team match up with this team? I just think it's so difficult to do without LaMelo.
Coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
He's everywhere!
We have another important injury to talk about with Brandon Miller, and we'll get to the LaMelo for Ja Morant thing. This has always been a thing, at least the last couple of years. It's been a thing that's popped up a lot, so we'll get to that thing coming up next. LOH. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up today and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. This episode is also brought to you by Rougiette. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress, I'm tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support. And that's where Rougiette comes in. Rougiette.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED, designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rougiette makes it easy to get started. You just connect with a board-certified doctor, 100% online. No awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments, and if prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, it's private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matter. Visit Rougiette, Rugiet, Rougiette.com/LockedOnNBA to get 15% off your first order. That's Rugiet, Rougiette.com/LockedOnNBA. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNBA so they know we sent you. Rougiette, stop making excuses and start making moves. More Locked On Hornets ahead. The news we haven't also talked about yet is the Brandon Miller news coming in on November 3rd. We're recording this podcast November 5th. The Hornets announced that the diagnosis of a left shoulder subluxation has been confirmed after continued evaluation of guard Brandon Miller. He'll continue his rehabilitation program while he remains out. The third-year guard, he'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks. Additional updates on his status will be provided as appropriate. The last part sucks because 2 weeks has been the kiss of death for a lot of these evaluations. They've never come back in 2 weeks once they've reevaluated these players. They, meaning believe Josh Green last year with that injury, if I'm not mistaken.
All of a sudden, shoulder surgery.
Yeah. The big one was Tre Mann, who we were told they would reevaluate in 2 weeks, and then the man never played another game last season. Now, that's a different injury. That's a back injury. Back is always way more serious. You get to be very scared about the back injury, and he doesn't play the rest of the way. All indications are that he'll come back at some point based on, I guess, just, whispers behind the scenes. It's not that scary. It's still scary, man. Like, it's not something that you love to see. He was seeking a second opinion, according to Chris Haynes, and apparently he got the diagnosis of the shoulder subluxation. He'll be out for a while. A lot of missed games, straight up, and it's going to take him away from some accolades that he could be able to win. Well, I mean, how many has he missed already? 6? So now you're talking about the 15-game threshold, 17-game threshold that you have in order to reach some of these accolades, these accomplishments. Like, I hate to focus on that so much, but so much of your season is already gone before you even play your full second game. It's frustrating as hell.
Yeah, I mean, if he misses a significant portion of this season, then he'll have the injury label on him too. And it's a label that players want to avoid like the plague because it's very hard to shake, even if you get your body whatever fully healthy means to an NBA player. It's very hard to shake that label. We heard from Mark Williams last season that he very much did not want to be labeled an injured player because that follows you. But there's no way around it when you miss so much significant time, particularly in the early portion of your career when you should be, like, that's the time where you're really developing your game, honing your skills, getting, whatever that, we always look at those like sort of graphics that show the ascent of a player as the, in relative to other players. It's going to be very difficult to do, more difficult than it already is with Brandon Miller if he misses a significant portion of this season. But we are not there yet. And I think, look, Brandon Miller very much wants to get back out on that basketball floor as soon as possible. The Hornets are obviously incentivized to do that as well because now they have a lot of young players that they would, new young players that they want to develop as well. And we'll say the same thing about them that we said about Brandon relative to LaMelo, which was like you need LaMelo out there so you can help develop Brandon because young players need good players to help them develop. The same thing is going to be true for these young players. They need both LaMelo and Brandon out there if you want to get the most. And I think the scariest thing is like, if they're going to be dealing with injuries to different things with Brandon Miller for the rest of his time and not even get to that second contract. Well, now like any idea about using 3 or 4 first round picks to go out and get a veteran talent, like you throw that out the window. I mean, as an organization, I think then you have to go, all right, well, we're back to the drawing board. Con Knippel's a good piece. Ryan Kalkbrenner's a good piece. Maybe Sion James is like a secret star. Who knows? But you really are like back into, all right, let's try to get into the top 1-2 picks again and go down this whole road again.
That'll be fun. Why are you so depressed, Doug? I don't get it.
I don't know. I don't get it.
Doesn't make any sense.
I'm totally fine.
It's game 8. Why are we here? It's game 8. Oh man, there are plenty of good things to talk about though. That I will say I want to hone in on that point because it is true. There are good things. The rookies, that is a terrible thing to fall on a bed of nails with this fall from all of the injuries, right? Now, instead of a bed of nails, we have this nice fluffy pillow that are 3 rookies just straight balling. Like Con Knippel looks fantastic in his first 8 games of his NBA career. Same thing with Kalkbrenner. Same thing with Sion. Let's save that because we'll get to it. I need you guys to hold on to the hope. We'll get to the hopeful part of the segment a little bit later on. I did want to talk about the Melo for Morant thing. I know you had some thoughts on it. Really, the foundation here is, do these teams in Memphis and Charlotte exchange point guards that it just hasn't worked out with in a while? Everybody loves doing this. I don't quite see the sense, especially from Charlotte's standpoint, way more in Charlotte's standpoint, because I heard Zach Lowe approach this same exact topic, and he said flat out, LaMelo's been better than Ja Morant. Charlotte's not doing it. So it's true, especially with all of the drama that you've had with Morant. What are some of the thoughts that you had regarding this highly talked about potential trade because, people find it interesting?
Yeah, I mean, Charlotte has a history of off-court drama with players that I think it would be very difficult to welcome Ja Morant into that and take that risk. LaMelo has had a few little incidents, like with the, driving a little aggressively outside of the arena. There was like that thing, sometimes when the camera gets in front of him, his fingers start to fly everywhere. Like, I mean, there's little stuff like that.
There's been nothing. Look,
nothing major.
The biggest thing is
nothing Ja Morant level.
Oh my God, no. The biggest thing is, man, no, you shouldn't run red lights through an intersection because something bad might happen. That's kid stuff, right? Like nothing big, hardcore, illegal. Yeah, it's not anything close to some of the other issues that other players have had.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing I would say is, like, I think Ja Morant needs to go to one of two situations. Either a very, very bad team where there's like a coach that would be willing to let him do literally whatever he wanted, and an organization that is just like so desperate and disorganized, like Sacramento, right? I mean, like Sacramento. Like
that's the team they talked about, by the way. Like it's just too obvious of a destination.
Or like maybe something like the Clippers, where he's not gonna be the guy. He's forced into that situation where he cannot be the guy. Like when you're on a team with Kawhi and James Harden, you're not going to be the guy because his skills have diminished. Like the injuries have taken a toll on his game, kind of a classic Russell Westbrook, but it happened way faster for Ja. Like he's not going to the rim as frequently. His efficiency has taken a nosedive at the beginning of this season. How much of that is like his discontent with Memphis? How much of that is the injuries piling up? I think he said last year he doesn't want to even dunk anymore. He dunked like I think a little bit of that was in jest, but part of that is like every time he goes flying and somebody nudges him, he goes in the stanchion or he falls into a camera guy and suddenly he's out for weeks. So. I mean, I think you have to take all of those things into consideration when you're going to make a move like that. And so, no, I don't think it would be smart for the Hornets to do this particular deal. Even though the contracts match up, you wouldn't have to do any picks. I think if the Hornets were going to move LaMelo at any point, like even if like the injuries scare another team away from giving you, I think you and I have talked about this, like 3 first-round picks. Maybe if you end up getting 2 first rounds or a first round and another protected first round, like in the future, that's, you do something like that. You go and develop and you don't worry about like going 1 for 1.
We can finish some of those thoughts coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Bees everywhere.
Finishing LaMelo thoughts. Ryan Kalkbrenner, too big to fail. We're going to get a jersey unveiling. We'll get to all of that in the final segment. LOH. This episode is brought to you by Gusto. Let's be real. No one starts a business for the joy of calculating tax withholdings or managing payroll spreadsheets. That's where Gusto comes in, to take the stress out of payroll, benefits, and HR so you can focus on running your business and supporting your team. Gusto is the all-in-one remote-friendly payroll and HR platform that makes managing your team simple, transparent, and fast. Whether you're hiring, onboarding, or paying employees, Gusto helps you do it all from one place without the hassle or hidden fees. Unlimited payroll runs for one monthly price, which means no surprise charges at the end of the month. You have Gusto providing that. They also have automated tools like offer letters, onboarding materials, and direct deposits that can save you hours every week. And knowing you can reach certified HR experts anytime, that gives you a real peace of mind. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/LockedOnNBA and get 3 months free when you can run your first payroll. That's right, 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/LockedOnNBA. One more time, that's Gusto, Gusto, gusto.com/LockedOnNBA. More Locked On Hornets ahead. I think the difference in LaMelo's injury this year has been actually something somewhat positive. Part of the issues in years past One, it's just been how many times it's happened, and it's been the catastrophic injuries. Once you go even further, right? It's the amount of games that he missed a couple of years ago. Less games last year, but still enough to be pretty maddening. This year, he has the talent around him. That has always been a question about what can LaMelo do? What can LaMelo do when he has a legitimate NBA rotation around him? He has a legitimate NBA rotation, and positive reinforcements on the way, because Grant Williams will suit up at some point. Josh Green will suit up at some point. So you don't have to depend on the rookies that are just flat balling, but they can ball at a lesser frequency, which is good for the younger players who still have some learning to do inherently as 23, 24-year-olds, 20-year-olds in Khan's case. So the fact that you have the talent here for LaMelo and he can't enjoy that yet, what's even crueler here is the fact that you get a taste of it. So now we're seeing just a little bit of those questions answered, Doug, because we do have these handful of games to go to at the beginning of the season. Okay, I see it. The vision, it's here. Khan playing off of LaMelo. The gravity benefiting LaMelo. Kalkbrenner being the rim protector, rim deterrer. Sion James being the bulldog. Colin Sexton running secondary offense off of the bench and just manufacturing 4 easy points. Yes, this looks great. Oh, LaMelo can't suit up. No, but it was such a tasty little appetizer, and then you take it away from me. So we started a process of answering some of these questions, and then it was ripped away from us. And that's why, I guess in some ways, the dealing with the injury for fans is better, and for the front office is better, because you are seeing what you had hoped for. Except what you had hoped for, it only shows flashes, and then it's ripped away from you again because of impingements and all the other injuries.
Yeah, look, maybe he gets back very quickly and this whole conversation is moot. But while he's out, and particularly with Brandon Miller out, it's not just about what you lose in terms of what LaMelo can bring to your team. It's what it enhances. Like I think we started to see it against New Orleans, where some of sort of the worst parts of an increased role for Colin Sexton start to show up, and Miles Bridges. I mean, we went through that all last year. It's back again.
It is.
Although he's still below average efficient offensive player, it is slightly better than last season. It hasn't gotten to the depths that
is
it was last season.
I'm surprised to hear that.
Points per shot
games,
attempt. In terms of points per shot attempt,
okay.
I mean,
yeah.
now maybe over the past couple of games since LaMelo's out, I haven't looked at those. I haven't zoned into those two games, but just over the season, it's slightly better than it was last season. But I mean, the Hornets offense is upside down because same thing as last season. And even if you factor in LaMelo, the highest usage players are the least efficient, and the lowest usage players, Moussa Diabate, Kalkbrenner, Sion James, are your highest efficiency offensive players. That's not a recipe for a good offense. The reason it was so hot to begin with, and this is to the LaMelo point, is that you can have mid-efficiency offensive players if you play really fast and play in transition a lot. That can help, and get to the free throw line a lot. That can, across the board, the Hornets were doing that. That can help you, weather some of that. But without LaMelo, all of that goes away, and, you get what you've gotten over the past couple of games.
He's he's gifted as a pass. He's just so good at unlocking so many different things. It'd be cool to see him play some basketball. We are getting to watch Ryan Kalkbrenner play some basketball. Too big to fail. What do you mean by that bullet point, Doug?
Oh, I just mean that in the offseason, we talked about, before, maybe we even talked about it after Kalkbrenner was drafted, but just the idea that the Hornets, particularly if they were tracking well heading into the deadline, like, do they go and look at a guy like Jared Allen that could still try to wriggle his way out of Cleveland in that situation? I mean, there was just a number of bigs that we just constantly bring up in these conversations. Do they need to go out and do that? And even if they were tracking well, just the way that Kalkbrenner is playing right now, he's first in effective field goal percentage in the NBA. He's like second he leads rookies in blocks. I think he's second in blocks overall in the NBA.
Yeah, it's
he's up
Wemby
there.
first, and then it's Kalkbrenner right after he is. Yeah,
I think he's had 3 straight games of 4 blocks. He had an 8 stock game, steals and blocks. I mean, just doing a lot of great things at the rim in terms of deterrence. He's chasing a lot of the stuff that we bragged on Mark Williams for. He's doing. He's chasing guards out of the paint. He's impacting. I mean, look, a lot of room for him to develop in a lot of different ways. But all I mean is, like, I think he's shown enough that you can just ride this out and worry about the backup. I think he's a quality starting center. And then, like, you can worry about the backup big in the offseason.
Yeah, and there's plenty to chew on there with Kalkbrenner. It's funny because you don't see the slow speed in which he moves as big of an issue as what you saw it in Summer League. And I wonder how, like, that's where I think we can all learn, because I'm telling you, I outright missed it as well. Like I misjudged what that was going to do once he got to the NBA. It was like, we were joking around. They don't call him Run Brenner. He's Walk Brenner. So it's, but it's not as big of an issue at all. Like, and you just see what the defense is designed to do with better players around him, which is always going to help you once you get to the NBA.
Well, so you don't see it, but you see the ripple effects of it. You see what they're doing to counter it a little bit. I was looking at, so his offensive rebounding numbers are great. His defensive rebounding numbers in terms of, like, relative to bigs, not great. And you go, is that a deficiency? I don't think so. Like, I went back and, like, watched every defensive, not every one, but I watched a significant portion of defensive rebounds for the Charlotte Hornets, and I saw Kalkbrenner operate there a lot. And what he likes to do, he plays drop, so he's down in towards the sort of elbow area, right? Ball comes off the rim. He goes and immediately finds his assignment, his big, bumps him to make sure that that guy can't get the defensive rebound, and then he starts to sprint down the floor. He, like, leaks out. And to me, that's like a countering of, like, all right, if we want to play in transition and we don't want our center completely lagging behind and being available for some of those easy points, he's got to bump and run. And so that's good, but he's not, unless he's down in the paint blocking someone's shot, he's not going to be available for the defensive rebound. And the other place that I think you're seeing the slow speed sort of ripple effects, I would think, is just like him dropping in general, like him not being able to step up and defend in that way, not being able to switch. Like, that's going to be you're not seeing the speed or the slow speed, but you're seeing what they're doing to adjust for that.
You mentioned some of the stuff that we bragged about Mark, or bragged about with Mark, chasing guards out of the paint, all that stuff. Like Mark, it feels like Kalkbrenner has a much better profile to put weight on and truly be an anchor than what Mark wasn't able to do. Not to reiterate a bunch of the Mark Williams stuff, but the value I found in him was that there's not many dudes that are that long that can also defend on the perimeter with that kind of athleticism, that was able to run like a deer, which nobody is saying that about Kalkbrenner. With Kalkbrenner, yeah, man, this does feel like the prototypical center Charles Lee wants. It is the Brook Lopez thing. It is Al Horford is different, but it's the shooting center that also can defend at a high level, and he needs to get stronger straight up. Like, he can get bullied.
Yeah.
But like all rookie centers, this is somebody to me that feels like, okay, he's not miscast. And I do think in order for Mark to work, I don't know if Charles Lee's vision of Mark working was truly what would allow Mark to be his best self. I do believe those things are aligned with Kalkbrenner, which is why we liked him in the pre-draft process in the first place. Like, we diagnosed some of this stuff. It is coming to fruition way, way, way faster than I think we had truly anticipated.
Yeah, we'll see how his body responds to, like, an NBA weight training program over the next couple of years. I think that will be really important to monitor. But, like, he wants the contact. And not only does he want the contact, but he does it in such a disciplined way. Like, he's letting these guards run into him and not, keeping those hands up, not coming over the top, not fouling a ton. Like, it's just, there's so many good things. I'm really excited about Kalkbrenner.
Yeah.
I was excited about him pre-draft, and he has, I mean, I thought it was going to take a couple seasons. I'll be honest. Like, he has way exceeded whatever excitement level I had when I watched some of his Creighton stuff. He's, like, well exceeded what I thought he'd be capable of this early.
Feels a little roller coastery because at Creighton, I thought maybe he would be able to help you right away. Again, help, not have to depend on,
right?
but help you right away. And then we saw Summer League. Summer League wasn't great. The first couple preseason games weren't great. And then you saw it. It goes to show you, we touch on this, man. Preseason matters more in the NBA to me than it does in the NFL. And you see some of these guys show you something, and Kalkbrenner showed us something in the last, 3 preseason games to where they're going to depend on him. Is he going to start? Is he really going to start? Yep, he's going to start. Is he really going to play 30 minutes? Yep. They're going to play him starters minutes, not only just give him the title. He's been very good, as all the rookies have.
Yeah, no, I think so. Yeah, what I said a couple of seasons, I meant to like be a solid starting.
Yeah.
And like I thought he would help. I thought he could come off the bench and give you a little something here or there, but that's not obviously like he is a starting center in the making, and he's going to put up, Kessler like numbers in his rookie season, like Kessler did.
And Kessler out for the season. Yeah, by the way.
Tough stuff. And shoulder. Oh boy.
Reevaluated in 2 weeks. We'll see.
Reevaluate me. Yeah, tell your guy from Lynchburg. He needs to reevaluate me in a couple of weeks. Give me a couple of weeks.
You don't deteriorate.
Work these injuries.
Yeah, that's fair. Rapid fire City Edition jerseys. They're going to unveil them officially. I think Friday or Monday. There is a media event, but we've already seen the City Edition unis. Just your quick thoughts on them.
I don't know if this is a coincidence. A lot of orange in the jersey, a lot of colors in the jersey in general, but I think orange is one of the dominant colors. I don't know if this was intentional, but I did see the Hornets tweet earlier today that 20 years ago today, well, you're probably watching this on Thursday, but 20 years ago on Wednesday, the Bobcats celebrated Spectrum Center's first ever regular season NBA game with a thrilling overtime win over Boston, an emotional performance that the 19,000 fans in attendance would never forget. Gerald Wallace, Sean May, Raymond Felton, those Bobcats getting the win in Spectrum Center for the first time, because they started in the Charlotte Coliseum and then moved over to the Spectrum Center once construction was completed there in Uptown. But so I don't know if there's any. We'll have to see like what all the fun like PR blibble blabble they come up with.
They do a good job with that stuff, though. I will say, like, I remember the Mint City stuff. I thought they did a good job with the whole meaning of the Mint City stuff when they unveiled that. I enjoyed all of the nuggets all over the place.
We'll see if they acknowledge the Bobcats' history in that. Look, I'm the wrong guy to ask about this. I'm totally done with jerseys. I don't know. Like, do people buy these? Do people do enough people buy? Here, but do enough? I know people buy them, but do enough people buy them to justify the glut of these jerseys that we get? Like, how many of these jerseys are sitting in boxes in warehouses because we just have so many of them? So these are fine. They're neat. I have no interest in owning one ever again. Not this one, not any ever again.
Yeah.
Unless they do the purple, like the sort of dark blue purple pinstripes. I'll buy that one.
Look, if you give me something very purple forward, I'm 100% in. That's the next what I want to see. Very purple forward. Tequila Sunrise edition is what these are. It's very bright.
I said Tide. I said it looked like Tide did the Tide logo.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Yeah. It looks like somebody just gave a splash of cranberry juice and OJ with this tequila. I appreciate it. It's bright. I love the shorts. Oh, buddy. The shorts, pretty fire. The yellow pinstripes, they're okay. But I love the shorts and overall, cool enough, thumbs up. That's how we'll end it today. That'll do it for Locked On Hornets. Thanks for making us your first listen. We're free. We're available anywhere you get your pods. That includes YouTube, where you see a joyous Doug Branson, everyhornetsboxscore.com. Also check him out on Yahoo Sports Daily. Even if you can't see him, he's working very hard behind the scenes. So Jason Fitz, Caroline Fenton, go watch Yahoo Sports Daily. I'm Walker Mail. Listen to me WFNZ every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. Sports Radio 92.7 FM. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be back with you tomorrow.
We're trying, Dylan.